Hi, I'm Robin Waite, author of best-selling book Online Business Startup, and I'm just going to give you a short video about the 7 best free tools that I've found for testing and auditing your website. So the first tool I want to introduce you to is a tool called NIBBLER. It's run by a company called SoapUI. They've also got a premium version of it called SiteBeam. So NIBBLER allows you to test, I think it's up to 5 or 10 pages of your website. Basically you can just pop in your website address. It gives you a rank out of 10 for a number of different features on your website with tips on how you can go in and fix any problems that it's found. So it goes through and it's testing for all the usual kind of suspects in terms of whether you've got social media accounts linked up to it, if it's found errors, coding errors on your page, standards compliance issues, whether it's picked up accessibility problems on your site, if there are broken links, if there are images missing, alt tags, lots of different things which ultimately all have if they're missing or wrong, they have a negative impact on your search engine page rank. So that's NIBBLER. I think the website address is nibbler.silktide.com, or you can just Google SiteBeam or NIBBLER and you'll find both of those. So the second tool, also free, is called PageScoring. This really heavily focuses on providing key information about the loading speed. So when you plug your URL into PageScoring, it gives you something called a waterfall. So there's a load of different assets which load on a web page, so JavaScript files, style sheets, images, and various other things. So let's say you have like 50 different elements to your web page which load up. So it puts them in a waterfall and it tells you which ones are taking longer or shorter to load up. So what we want is, remember that 7-second rule which I talked about in another video, you want that page to load up as quickly as possible. So if there's a large image in there which is taking 20 seconds to load up, well, that's going to slow down your entire site. So PageScoring is quite good at giving you a very quick overview of how quickly your site loads. The third tool I'm going to mention is actually one of my favourite at the moment, GTMETRIX. So why GTMETRIX is so good is it uses both Google's PageSpeed tool and also Yahoo's YSlow tool and grades your site's performance in both PageSpeed and YSlow. So why is that important? So with Google being the most used search engine out there, and then Yahoo being the second most popular search engine, if your PageSpeed score is low, then it kind of makes sense that actually Google's not going to be particularly happy about your site and the page rank which it gives you. So if we're making sure that we're ticking all the boxes as far as PageSpeed and YSlow are concerned, hopefully that's not going to just have a positive impact on how quickly and how well your website loads, but also how well it performs in the search engines. And their scoring is nice and simple. They do it like an A, B, C, D, E or fail type ranking. So it's quick and easy to see if your website's an A or an F. And then it goes into detail about specific things that you can then focus on to rectify and increase that score. The fourth tool which I use is one called PINGDOM. So PINGDOM also analyzes load speeds, and you can use it to learn how to make your website load faster. The other benefit to it as well, which PageScoring doesn't do, is PINGDOM automatically traces your performance history. So every month when you go in and test your website, you can see whether the changes that you've made have increased the performance of that web page, the loading speeds for it. Equally, what you can also do with PINGDOM is choose different locations around the world to test your website from. So if you're based in the UK, you're looking at your website from Bristol, it's hosted in Sheffield, the page load speeds are naturally going to be quicker than if somebody's looking at your website in Boston, for example, because it's got to cover that extra distance. So what you can do is make sure that your website, you can test it from Boston to make sure that how quickly your site is loading from different site locations all around the world. Another really good tool is SORTSITE. Again, this is the free version is a bit basic, but it does give you some basic kind of testing tools. You can test up to 5 pages. It'll do standards compliance accessibility. It categorizes them quite nicely. But it is worthwhile if you want to test your website on a regular basis, then sign up to the premium version. It's not very much, I think it's about 40 or 50 bucks. It's a subscription-based service, but what you can then do is schedule the testing so that it'll ping you off an email on a monthly basis with a report on any problems that might have, because a website isn't an ever-evolving, it's an organic kind of system. So when you fix something last month, I don't know, the W3C might change their rules, or a new browser update might come in, and then when you test it this month, all of a sudden your site breaks. It doesn't work on the latest browser, or doesn't work on the latest iPhone, for example. So having those regular monthly reports coming through is a really good way of just, again, double checking, keeping really on top of any updates which happen on a month-by-month basis. The web moves so fast these days, you need tools like this to make sure that you're just up to date with stuff. There's another free tool which the World Wide Web Consortium, the W3C, so they set the standards compliance, the standards of the website code, and they've got a free tool. If you just Google the W3C validation tool, plug in your website address, and it'll tell you whether the code for your web page meets the W3C compliance. So if there are lots of errors appearing under that W3C validation tool, it's going to slow down your site. The search engine is going to pick up that your site's loading slowly, and it's going to lower your page rank. So we want your site to be, your web pages to be error-free. They load quicker, get a better score on Google. It's all good. The final tool is the Waite accessibility tool. So I talked about in a previous video why we're testing for accessibility. So again, this is a really simple tool which looks at things like colors, font sizes, use of imagery, alt tags, navigation around the site from an accessible perspective, and make sure that your website isn't discriminating against people with disabilities. This is a fact which most people don't know. It's no different to not put, if you've got a premises, a physical premises, not building a ramp outside the front door of your premises for somebody in a wheelchair to come inside. That is discriminatory. You could be incriminating yourself in regards to the Disability Discriminations Act. It's no different to websites. So if you don't consider, if you don't make websites accessible, then technically you could be sued because, again, you know, under the law through the DDA. So it's a really important fact. So if you go to the Waite accessibility tool, it will tell you, and what I generally, making a website 100% accessible can be a really difficult task. But there are some really simple things that you can do to make your website accessible. Simple things like when you upload an image, put an alternative text tag against it. It's just a descriptive tag which talks about what the subject matter of the image is, so that somebody who's got a visual impairment who can't see it at least has an audio description of that image. So just to summarise those 7 tools which I've just mentioned during this video, so they are NIBBLER, PageScoring, GTMETRIX, PINGDOM, SORTSITE, the W3C validation tool, and then finally the Waite accessibility tool. So thanks for watching. I hope you found that video really helpful. If you want to know more, then please subscribe to my channel, or if you've got any questions, then please do leave them in the comments box below.